Dear Melissa, a year ago, I joined an older enterprise business undergoing digital transformation. While many product leaders have elements of the right vision, the whole product org read inspired just before I got here. They're trying. There's still a lot of need to change the way we work. I find I get plenty of positive feedback and excitement about many of the changes I'm bringing from my prior roles at digital native companies. But I'm also experiencing some intense pushback from certain groups. I know transformation will ruffle some feathers, but how do I know if I'm pushing too hard? Maybe should I give up and go back somewhere where I fit in more? Help. I've been the ruffler before. I can really empathize with this question. So before I started consulting, I was a ruffler and I ran into a lot of problems. But then also as a consultant, I ruffle all the time. I ruffle feathers. That's what I'm hired to do. But you got to do it in a careful way. And I have learned my lesson because I've ruffled too many feathers before and I've made people angry. From multiple years of doing this, since I've been consulting since 2014, these are my tips. One, when you get in and you start to evaluate a new company going through a transformation and you see people not doing things they're supposed to do, you want to be gentle about it. You don't want to call it out. You want to first reward the progress that they have made. Like you said, they're trying, they're red inspired, they're really trying. Great. Reward that, right? Acknowledge it. Say, I know you guys are trying hard. Two, you want to paint a vision for where you want to go and you want to make sure people are on board with that vision. So a lot of times we'll start with the nuts and bolts of what product management should do, but we don't talk about how it goes all the way up through the company, right? We don't talk about how that actually changes roles for sales and marketing and for everybody else around it. And when we don't paint that picture, you could be doing things that you know are right, but nobody's aligned because they don't know where we're going. So they don't understand how those actions connect back to a larger vision. And then they're also probably scared because they're like, what's this mean for me if we're going to do this new product management thing? I don't even know. So think about that and then empathize. So you want to listen. You want to make sure you're listening to people. You want to empathize with their position. And you want to tell them, like, I know where you're coming from. This is really great. Hey, can I make a suggestion on where we should go this way? Can I make a suggestion on us trying something else? You want to approach these things gently, right? And you want to come in and say, I do have some firm ideas, but what are people ready for? Are they ready for a lot of change or are they ready for a little change? Let's say that you are heads down working on something that's really important. Let's say it's like going to change the whole company, right? Something big. You don't want to be changing everything immediately. And you don't want to be pushing for people to change when things are at high stakes and high pressure because it's going to make people scared. So you can do small changes that you know will work going that way. Or if you have buy-in from the leadership, you can make a lot of changes if they're going to put their foot down and say, let's go this way. But if you're trying to do this from a bottoms-up approach, it's very, very hard to change everything when there's a lot of pressure on the line. So acknowledge that. I can see that you're a senior product manager reading this. So I know that you're not the chief product officer. It's very different for leaders, and I would have very different advice for leaders. But this is what I'm saying for people on teams who have the knowledge and see that people aren't working around them the way that they used to work. Acknowledge that things are wrong, make a note of it, but figure out what you can change. If you try to change too many things at once, people will get very stressed out. So you don't want to do that. Two, you want to get buy-in for trying these changes, and you want to tell people what it's going to do for them as well. You want to make sure that they understand that this is going to help them achieve their goals. So everything that you put out there, you put it back into their goals. Now, you can tell when you're pushing too hard when people start leaving you out of conversations. They don't ask you for advice. They're not coming to you for help. That's a really good indication that you may have gone too far. Maybe you approach it with these people. You go back and you say, hey, I may have been pushing this too hard. And I realized that in my last company, we work differently. And I want to work the way that we work here. Like I want to help introduce some things that I think will make us better. But I realize that I can't neglect what you've been through and what your history is here. So can you help me learn? Can you tell me about things that you've tried before and why it doesn't work? Can you give me the people dynamics lowdown of what's going on here? Tell me what's at stake for us, right? Tell me about our leadership and our pressures and different things like that. Make sure you understand the people dynamics because at the end of the day, the ruffle of the feathers comes down to people. Like people are going to get upset because of human nature, not because you told them the right thing to do, right? They're going to get upset because usually there's some other dynamics that are actually happening. So change is slow and you want to make sure that you're only introducing things piece by piece that works. The other thing too is that you know what you're doing and you're a senior product manager. If you can just show people what good looks like and not try to change everybody else around you, show people what good looks like. Don't ask for permission, just do it. They're going to start to go, hey, I want to work that way. And they're going to start to come to you. You have a unique position here where, as an individual contributor, product manager, you can just do the work, get your team on board, worry about them. If stakeholders are coming towards you and, asking for things or reprioritizing, you might make them a little upset by saying no or pushing back or doing these other things, but just use your diplomatic powers and influence and protect your space and just nail it. And the more you nail it, the more people will see that they could work like that too. And they'll start coming to you instead of you trying to push it on them. So at this point, maybe take a couple steps back, focus on what you can control and do that. And then as the appetite increases for you to introduce more things, put a little bit out there. Put a little bit out there. That's not going to ruffle the feathers. That's what I would do if I was on a team. Should you go back somewhere where you fit in? That's a personal question. One, if you think people have a good appetite for change here, and maybe you just need to tweak your approach a little bit, this could be a great learning experience for you. And you may get a lot of credibility and you may get some really good leadership skills out of this that will help build your resume, give you opportunities to go somewhere else, right, in the future. Or promotion opportunities. Totally would promote somebody if I saw them doing great work like this. If you feel like you can't get anywhere and you can't do your job, that's where I would start to look at maybe going somewhere else. But if you can do your job and you feel like if you protect your space, you're going to be a fantastic product manager and you're going to outshine everybody, do that. Show people what good looks like and then offer to help and see if they're curious, see if they want to learn. That's really what I would look at. But it's a really hard one. I've ruffled feathers. I was an individual contributor, product manager at a company that did not do great product management once. And I came in and I said, you're all doing it wrong. And I got really mad and I butt heads with the CEO hard. He was like, can you just be a team player? I'm like, that's fair. I would not have done that now, right? I learned from that I needed to build credibility first within the company before I could implement change. I knew not to just go trash talking everything that they were doing and kind of respect where they're coming from. It's a successful company. 2, start making suggestions, lie a little low, make suggestions here and there on things that would improve. And then 2, I just did my work and kicked butt, right? And that showed people I knew what I was doing and that there's other ways to doing work. So don't go running in there. Don't be like, everything sucks here. Can't we do it this way? Pick your battles. That's what I really would look at for ruffling feathers. And then figure out, how do I get people so excited about this that they want to come to me? That's really the key there. You want to be pulling them towards you instead of pushing your stuff on top of them. So I hope that helps.